Hey y'all, it's your girl Gabs and welcome to my channel, Going There with Gab. Why hello there. Girls who just got their nails done be like, okay. Today on the channel, we are addressing the hashtag AskGabs because so many people reached out and said they wanted to hear about first dates. First, we're gonna talk about the worst first date that I've ever been on, and then we're gonna talk about the best. I'm gonna talk in more general truths about dating. I'm gonna do my best not to say names, even though I'm terrible with that. So if either of them end up watching this, I am so sorry. But if either of them watch this, you also know who you are. So before I get into all of this, I do wanna say I am talking to the planner of the first date. Anyone can be the person who asks someone on a date. It's not a gendered thing. I mean, particularly as a queer woman, I ask people on dates all the time, and so I end up planning dates. And so I'm speaking about being invited to someone who is looking to plan a first date. In terms of being the person going on the first date, just a couple quick pieces of advice before I dive in here. Have a good attitude, be open-minded, and be safe. Always share your location with someone. Know the person, at least their first and last name, before you go on a date with them, because ain't nothing like, what happens if, God forbid, you go missing and all somebody knows is I was out with Jerry. And I think those also go to the person who planned the date. So we just gonna talk about this because there is a lot to talk about. The worst first date of my life happened in the winter of 2016. Now, I was living in DC at the time. I was on an off term from Dartmouth and I was doing an internship. And I was living my best life. However, I was broke. So I wanted to explore DC and I didn't want to do things alone. I didn't know people. Enter Tinder. I was connecting with people, chatting them up, and being very transparent about the fact that, hey, I want to explore DC. I don't want to do it alone. I'm looking mostly for friends, but if something more happens, cool. There's one gentleman who reached out to me. He was like, hey, I really want to go see The Revenant. Do you want to come with me? Let's do dinner and a movie. I really wanted to see The Revenant because I heard Leonardo DiCaprio was great, and anyone who knows me knows I love white nonsense on TV, so had to go. We made plans for about 5 days out. This was a great first step. Make plans in advance. We had made plans to meet at this specific metro stop at a specific time. That also great. Set a time and place far in advance so everybody knows the deal. Communication kind of fell off on the days leading up. So we talked that first day, a little bit that second day, and then nothing. When that day came, I didn't hear anything from this man all day. And that was kind of a red flag. But me being me, I ignored the flag. I hit him up that afternoon like, hey, are we still on? Didn't hear anything back from him until about 5:30 and he just said yes. And around 6, I text him and say, hey, I'm heading over to the metro stop. He hits me back about 10 minutes later saying, I'm running late. He didn't give a time. And so I asked him, I was like, yo, when do you think you'll be here? He said, not too long. How many different liquids can I consume in the course of filming one video? Me being me, I'm a stickler for time. So if you say we're meeting at 6:30 and you're not there at 6:30, I'm gonna start doing what we said we were gonna do without you. So I go have dinner. It's now 7:15. He hits me up like I'm on my way. The movie we had planned to see was at 8. So if he's on his way at 7:15, who knows where he's coming from? We might as well just meet at the theater. So we're in this movie and, spoiler alert, as Leonardo DiCaprio is climbing out of a horse. We have been sitting separate the entire time. Like, he's over here, I'm over here. As Leonardo DiCaprio climbs out of this horse, this man turns to face me and licks me chin to temple. And I'm just sitting like this. And I turned my head slightly to look at him, and he is just grinning. He's just, Jesus, take the wheel. And I am turning to him, I'm like, are you serious right now? And then he held my hand. He just like grabbed on top of it like this. At that point in time, I removed my hand and I sat very straight and proper and watched the rest of this movie because I really was intrigued to see what happened to oh boy. But when the movie ended, I expeditiously left. He was, you know, walking, keeping pace with me. He's like, oh man, that was such a great movie. Like, when can I see you again? And I looked at him, I was like, you just licked me. He was like, oh, I thought you would like that. What? Where? And so yeah, that's kind of where the date went really left. And that leads to my second point, which is don't make assumptions. Don't assume someone is comfortable with something. Don't assume you can cross people's physical boundaries. Like, this is a first date. You don't know this person for real. Maybe you've been talking for a while and you're going on a date for the first time. Maybe you've been friends for years, but you are just moving into the dating realm. Regardless, don't make assumptions about what that person's comfortable with on that first date. So I told him, no, I did not enjoy that. He asked me, can I get a kiss? And this is the third point. What was the third point? Know when to quit. That was the third point. This can go for when you're doing something bad and you're trying to like dig yourself out of a hole, but this can also go with when things are going great. Know when to quit. Because at the end of the day, if he hadn't asked for that kiss, we might have become friends. I would never have went on a date with him again. That was not gonna happen, but we may have been friends. I ended up with a lot of male friends from people that I dated in that season of my life. I will never forget it though. Worst first date. Now on to talk about the best first date I have ever had. This person and I knew each other casually while I was in a relationship. We met when he approached me and asked for my number, and I said, hey, like, I'm in a relationship. And he was like, cool. Let's be homies. Or however that conversation went. When my boyfriend at the time and I broke up, I ran into him again. And by say ran into, I mean I intentionally positioned myself to see him again. And updated him on my relationship status and then he asked me out. Anyway, I had known him a little bit, so when I asked him what we would be doing, he was like, we're gonna get food in Alexandria, and then I have a surprise plan for you. Typically, I would caution against surprises on the first date. One, you're trying to create a relationship of trust, and people don't know you. This feeds back into don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions that people are cool with you just taking them and doing whatever. So he picks me up in the whip, which was a great, you know, thing. I didn't have to Uber anywhere or whatever. And we drive to downtown Alexandria in Virginia and we get some drinks and some food. And he picked this great restaurant. So I will say location matters. If you're gonna take someone somewhere and you're looking to have a conversation, do not pick a very busy bar. Do not pick a restaurant that is like completely silent or overcrowded and too loud. Because the first date is when you really get to know somebody in a relationship capacity, if that's what you're dating for, or even just in like, if that's someone you want to sleep with or create a sexual relationship with, that's how you can kind of get to know someone to know if that's going to be safe for you. We're in Alexandria, we're chilling, and he goes, okay, time for part 2 of the date. So he calls an Uber and we get in this Uber. I'm like, where are we going? We're not going anywhere that's more than 20 minutes away. So I was like, okay, I can conceptualize 20 minutes around this area. I feel safe in this paradigm. Let's go. And he was like, I don't want you to see where we're going, so you're going to look at me and we're going to talk the entire car ride. I thought that was really cute and I thought that it was so fun. We ended up at the National Harbor waterfront. We walked and we were talking and all of a sudden we ended up at this Ferris wheel and this man just pulls out his phone like he already has tickets. So now we're up in the Ferris wheel and it was just so smooth that we get down from the Ferris wheel and we go and we get drinks and he already had like drink tickets or whatever. And then we're walking along the water and all of a sudden we're at a water taxi and we're back on a water taxi headed to Alexandria, back where we came from. It was so seamless and smooth. I was like, wow, This man put some thought into this evening. And this is what leads me to my fourth point, which is create space for conversation. He did that really well at every step. He picked the perfect place for us to get drinks. We walked a lot, and so we had an opportunity to just be alone, the two of us, although in a public space, and like have conversation and joke and catch up. And if he had done anything more on that first date, I would have felt overwhelmed. So he did a great job. He quit while he was ahead. He, hit a home run. It was great. To review, tip number 1, plan and communicate. Timing is important, thoughtfulness is important. This is where all that comes into play, and telling someone what is going on and following through. Plan and communicate. 2, do not make assumptions. Do not assume. Do not assume people are comfortable with X, Y, or Z. Do not assume that everything is going to be copacetic, even though you haven't talked. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume you can cross physical boundaries. Don't assume you can cross emotional boundaries. I don't want to talk about my trauma, and I don't want you to look me in the face, okay? Do not assume. 3, quit while you're ahead. And if you don't know if you're ahead, then you're probably not. So then there's that. 4, create space for conversation. The best date that I had was so great because he created many opportunities for conversation. And I think that's all that I have for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions, comment below. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you want to share your experience, I would love to hear it. If you have more questions, use the hashtag AskGab. Follow me on Instagram at Going There with Gab. And yeah, just let me know what y'all think of this little diddly do. By faith, without fear, we are going there.